Welcome to this Kano conference on how to prepare for a poster presentation. Hello, my name is Krista Wilkins, and I'm an assistant professor with the Faculty of Nursing, University of New Brunswick. I am a member of the Kano Research Committee, and I'm going to be your guide for today's podcast. First of all, congratulations. You are going to be a poster presenter at the annual Kano conference. This podcast will go through the steps of how to prepare for a professional poster presentation that will help you connect with your audience, direct and hold the audience attention, and enhance the audience's understanding and memory by providing easily digestible information. So to begin your poster presentation, first you'll need to do some planning. You need to plan your poster presentation so that it is completed and ready to take to the conference. First of all, you need to consider what is your message. Everything you put on your poster should relate to a carefully crafted message. You must be able to state your main points and conclusions clearly and succinctly. All visuals and text should relate to these points and conclusions. For your poster, you might be sharing preliminary research data, snapshots of a project in progress, clinical initiatives, practice changes, or quality improvement projects. The next question to consider as you plan your poster is how much room do I have? Determine specific size requirements for your poster. The available area determines in part what you can fit, what you'll have to leave out, the layout, and how things will be organized. Per your email correspondence from Kano, you will notice that the Kano conference guidelines indicate that the poster board size is 4 feet in height and 8 feet in width, and so your poster will need to be able to fit on this poster board. How much money do I have is another key question to ask as you plan your poster. Your budget will determine in part whether you create the poster yourself or contract it out, and quality of the paper or cloth used for printing will also need to be considered. As you plan your poster, you also need to consider who am I presenting to. Think carefully about the overarching objectives of the Kano conference, as well as the learning needs of the audience. Some individuals may be very interested in the topic of your poster, and others might be actually more interested in the process, in the steps taken to complete your project. Next, consider who will be contributing to your poster. Determine who will be involved with making the poster and in what manner. Also consider what milestones you want to establish. Start with your due date. When do you need to have your poster ready? And then work back to create some milestones, some times that would be important for you to complete your work. Be sure to allow lots of time for peer review and editing. This is particularly important when you have a multi-authored poster that you're going to be presenting. So now that you've started to plan your poster presentation, let's think about designing your poster. Effective posters are easy to read from a distance of 1 to 2 meters away and take no longer than 10 minutes to read. Your poster is a visual medium. Next, I will present how you make your poster visually appealing by considering the layout, content, color, font, and graphics. Before we do that, let's have a look at what your final poster might look like. And now we will go through each of these different aspects of an effective poster so that it becomes visually appealing. Don't make your reader's eye have to jump all over the poster in trying to gain the information. Use a column format if possible so that the reader will read from top to bottom, then left to right. In this way, several people can be reading your poster at the same time, walking from left to right. Use headings to help readers find your main points and key information. A hurried reader should be able to get the main points from the headings alone. Use visual cues like numbers, letters, arrows to guide readers through your poster in the correct sequence. A helpful rule is the 20-40-40 rule. 20% text, don't use full sentences, use bullets, they're more effective. 40% of the poster should be designated for graphics, pictures, or diagrams, and we'll come back to that in a few moments. And 40% of the poster should be white space. Not that it literally has to be white space, but it's blank space. And the importance of this is that if the poster is too full, it can be really difficult to follow. Content sections should follow logically and tell the story of your project from beginning to end. On this slide, you will see some common section headings. Your title, the first section heading, should be short, concise, and express the essence of your work. The combination of both upper and lowercase text enhances the title aesthetics. Under or next to the title, you should include the name, affiliations, and qualifications of all the authors. The background section should outline the rationale for your work and brief review of the literature. Next, it would be helpful to outline the aims of your project. The methods section should outline how your project was implemented. For example, if you're preparing a poster on research project, then you should include such things as your design, sampling, and data collection technique, and data analysis process. Present the results in a way that reflects or answers your research question or adds to your clinical initiative. Tables, figures, and graphs that are simple, easy to read, and interpret can be used to highlight your results, and we'll revisit this in a few moments. For the conclusion, summarize the key points of your research or clinical initiative. Then highlight recommendations for clinical practice, education, and further research. Including references indicates that your work was supported by evidence. Within the body of your poster, references can be implemented using a sequential number system. The full reference list should be written in small text towards the bottom of your poster. In a similar size font to your reference list, you should acknowledge any assistance or contributions you had during the course of your project. The content should be concise and easy to understand in your absence. Keep the text in blocks of no more than 50 to 75 words. Use active and not passive words. Try to avoid things like jargon, and be sure to check your grammar and spelling, and we'll revisit this in a few moments. When you're considering the color, keep in mind that dark backgrounds with light lettering is very tiring to the eyes. The light comes from a different source, so think about it. Newspapers, magazines, most printed material is printed on a lighter background with dark text. If you use multiple colors, use them in a consistent pattern. Otherwise, viewers will spend their time wondering what the pattern is rather than reading your poster. Overly bright colors attract attention, but will wear out a reader's eyes very quickly. Consider people who have problems differentiating colors, especially when designing graphics. One of the most common is the inability to tell red from green. People who are afflicted with this condition tend to see these colors as being similar. Here is an example of a poster I developed on a clinical practice guideline for breast cancer surveillance of young women who have been treated for cancer during childhood, adolescent, or young adult. Take note of the layout and the use of color and the headings or content that has been used. Sans serif fonts are easier to read from farther away, which is why they are good for posters, particularly the titles and headers. Examples of these kinds of fonts are listed on the slide. Use common fonts because you don't know what fonts will be on the computer that you use to print your poster, so you want to make sure that they print correctly. Pay attention to text size. Use at least 24 point in text and at least 36 point for headings. Be sure also not to use all caps. Good graphics, graphs, illustrations, and photos are the centerpiece of your poster. Graphics should be relevant to your topic and not too distracting from the meaning of your poster. Good graphs should communicate relationships quickly. Be sure to write explanations directly on figures, and it is most effective to use two-dimensional graphs and pie charts. Text on the graphs and on figures should be the same as other guidelines, so the 24 point would be appropriate. Be wary of using graphics you may get from the web, such as logos. These items are low resolution and small in nature. Most are also copyrighted. When these images are used in print and scaled up in size, they often look jagged and unprofessional. If at all possible, obtain original digital images of photos or logos that have high enough resolution to withstand upscaling or their use. Here is another sample poster. This is a poster I presented at the International Conference on Cancer Nursing in 2006. The topic was siblings of pediatric bone marrow transplant recipients, and it was their lived experience as they transitioned through the bone marrow transplant. So here you can see the use of light colors. You can see the use of photographs. You can see that there were different sections in this particular poster as well. Now that you start to design your poster, you've got to actually construct it, make it. So there are many software options for creating your poster. Most people know and use Microsoft PowerPoint, but there's other programs, Adobe Illustrator, InDesign, much more professional results. They're more complex and a little bit more expensive. But it is important to use software programs that will allow you to create posters and be able to add images to those. It is really important not to use Word in terms of making your posters. Some universities or health facilities may provide branded templates for use when making your posters in accordance with their specific guidelines, so be sure to check that out. Set the poster size in your software program either when you're initially creating your file, or in the case of PowerPoint, you'll have to do a page setup and input the customized size of your final print. Working with the proper size of your output will help you give some sort of sense of the font and the graphic sizes. When you import graphics from another source, don't cut and paste. Import the graphics from another program by inserting them or placing them in the software program. Depending on the type of program you used to create those graphics, cutting and pasting them may give you an inferior output. So they may not appear at all, or they may appear kind of crazy or out of whack when you go to print them. Finally, the most important thing to think about is to edit ruthlessly to reduce the amount of text and focus on a results-oriented message. Edit all the text to simplify the verbiage, to reduce the sentence complexity, and to delete details. Not relevant to your message, remove it. There's nothing more embarrassing, though, than having spelling errors. Have some colleagues comment on your drafts. All software packages will allow you to print a scaled-down version of your poster on a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. This is an excellent way to improve draft posters because if you can read the reduced version comfortably, your fonts are large enough to be seen from 1 to 2 meters away at full scale. Plus, you have an instant handout. So now you need to print your poster. When you get ready to print your poster, it should be available in a digital format with the proper size and the page setup applied. Seek assistance from your institution's multimedia center with the printing of the poster. You might even seek some funding from your department, unit, or institution to assist with the cost. Look at your poster at the printing place before it's printed to make sure that everything looks the same on their computer as it did on yours. Most times there's really no issues, but remember the staff that are at the printing place don't know what your poster is supposed to look like. And what they think might look to be fine may be completely out of whack compared to what you created. Prices vary by size, so the larger of your poster, the more expensive it's going to be. Prices also vary by the type of print media. So is it matte? Is it glossy? Is it paper? Is it vinyl? Or is it even cloth? Many places now offer the option of printing on cloth, and it's a similar price to laminated paper, and it's an easier way to pack into your suitcase. You know, if it wrinkles a bit, you can easily iron it out. So now that you've printed your poster, you're ready to transport it to the conference. There are many ways to bring your poster to the conference. You can use nice carrying cases, but they can be quite expensive. There are cardboard tubes that you can purchase at printing centers or office supply stores. What's important is to write your contact information on your poster tube in case it gets lost. You might also want to write a reminder on your boarding pass or hotel confirmation about your poster. Many people, including myself, have inadvertently left their posters behind on an airplane or bus stops. It's really easy to forget because it's not part of your usual travel luggage. Carry your poster on the airplane instead of checking it in as luggage, if it's possible. Airlines are notorious for losing things like poster tubes since they can roll around. Be aware, though, that some airlines have restrictions on carrying on poster tubes and or charge a fee. If others are going to the same conference, you might want to put the posters in one tube and save on space and fees. Some other ways to get your poster to the conference: mail your poster to the hotel, mail your poster to someone who is attending the conference and maybe lives close to the conference location. Email the poster to a printing place close to the conference location and have them print your poster. So now that you've got your poster and yourself to the Cano conference, you need to set up your poster at the conference. So you'll go to the conference registration desk, you'll get a poster board number, you'll find the location of the poster boards, and you'll get some Velcro or push pins, and you'll use those to mount your poster up onto the poster board. Be sure that your poster, as you mount it, is square and neat. Now it's time to present your poster. You'll present your poster during a poster session. These are informal events where all the posters are displayed and participants are able to view and discuss individual posters with the presenters. Make sure you're at your poster during your assigned presentation time. In some cases, conferences will have specified times that you should be available to answer any questions for participants or the judges. Enhance your audience by speaking to them. Start by introducing yourself. You might bring some business cards to hand out or leave them in an envelope when you're not there. Use your poster as a visual cue, but don't read it. Prepare some key comments or questions and be ready to have a dialogue about your poster. Discuss your interests, develop some networks, and expand on the central ideas or themes of your poster. Don't forget to thank people who stop by to have a look at your poster. Well, that's all for today. We look forward to seeing your poster presentation at the annual Cano conference. Hopefully this presentation has given you some ideas about preparing for your poster presentation. So now we're to our final slide of the podcast. Here are some helpful resources, and in these resources are some sample posters. They present some scholarly work, and they're available for you to be able to use as examples for how you might want to build your poster presentation. Thank you very much.